Hello, welcome to the final game of the ITSL group stage against whom else? Ziemowit. He is going to have USSR, I am going to have USA at +2, and we agreed to set the time limit to 75 minutes per player to be able to comment it in details. At first, what's at stake? We both have 14 victories and 5 defeats, and we are sure of ending up second and third. But whoever finishes second gets one round free in the ladder stage. Whoever ends up third will have to win one match more. In case of a draw, Ziemowit will take the second place, I take the third, but this is moot because draws are really uncommon in this game. About this hand, I'm not really happy. So I think I'll open in a quite standard manner, except that I'd like to have access to Italy. But choose of the headline is another story. Asia scoring is risky under Vietnam revolts. I guess captured Nazi scientist it is. And hope not to get purged and blockaded. The 75 minutes comes with 0 tolerance, except cases of a lost internet connection, in which case we are able to contact each other the other way, even to call each other via phone. Yes, Vietnam revolts it is. It's very good I hadn't headlined Asia. I have duck and cover, so he's unable to drop DEFCON to 3 in a single play. He's able to take Thailand though. And Independent Reds is gone. It was quite easy to predict that he's gonna play this way when he went to Austria rather than to Yugoslavia. The question now is, should I fight for Asia? Do I have the power to coup it in my favor? I certainly should try. Of course he's privileged because he has an extra influence point, operation point, sorry, due to Vietnam revolts. But coupping one-stop countries makes such one-op modifiers much less meaningful. Laos, Cambodia, not Vietnam, because it offers much better access. There are limited attempts, though I have 1, 2, 3 more, and then I'll have to score eventually. And of course no Cambridge 5. What the hell was this? Okay, this was a case of some kind of server hiccup. the China card in his hand. I probably really shouldn't just break Korea. Of course, I'd like to delay Nasser. So probably one more attempt with 5-year plan, or probably scoring Asia if he coups again and succeeds. Because in this case I no longer feel I can really contest Asia. Fails, however, it's also not really clear what I should do. If I had any 4-ops card, I could go to Malaysia, Indonesia and Philippines in case of his failed coup and make sure that he's not gonna dominate Asia unless he has cards like decolonization. But I have none. Therefore I have a problem. He certainly didn't want to do this. The problem for him is now that if I coup Vietnam and succeed... Oh no, sorry, I miscalculated countries. So he has no problem, I do. I think I have to take risk of blockade. However, Lebanon is not too good choice now. Okay, let's risk Thailand. And it fortunately succeeded. If he gives up China now, well, he wins Asia. Oh, I forgot that he didn't have to give up China, because Red Scare is as good. So no longer contesting Asia, unfortunately. But well, he had 2 4-ops cards, I had none. I'm still vulnerable to blockade. And in general, as I said, it was a hateful hand. And the outcome of this turn is actually quite good as for this hand looked like. Because Decon is at 3, so he can't protect Lebanon now. If he takes it, I may go there. Yes, I didn't protect Panama, but fortunately he was unable to coup it successfully. And now things are protected. Better or worse, but protected. And I got blockade. What else? I got containment. Which is probably going to be my headline, because I have no better headline cards. Actually, I won't be headlining NATO. I could headline blockade, but Nah, I don't like this move. So let it be so. I don't like this network hiccuping. So the plan is to aggressively push into Europe, get rid of the goal, maybe some aggressive push into Middle East to mitigate Nasser, and maybe even space blockade and hold de-Stalinization. It's normally not recommended to space blockade, but in this case it's really tempting. Red Scare is gone. Defectors are gone for a while. If I had such red hand, it may be true that he has a blue one and some problems to do with it as well. Europe scoring wise. Wise because it probably could never be any better. That was quite painful, denying me access, but well, shit happens, as they say. Okay, Europe is gone, so before doing anything there, I think it was a preparation for decolonization. I can't go to Angola. Even if it wasn't, I'm going to play the goal, and this gains him access to Algeria, therefore I'd like to take Algeria first. If he decals there, okay, it's a problem. I play the goal, but I may put 3 into France and 1 in Algeria, and he can't take France anyway. My hand is quite rich due to containment. That was wise, because that forces me to do something about France. Fortunately, I intended to do it anyway. The priorities now: equalize temporarily, gain access, secure. What I want to do this turn is get rid of Nasser, space blockade, and my AR6, probably Saharan states, Colombia, and something else with Arab-Israeli war. This is wise, and this is what I hate about him having so early independent reds. Is it Nasser time or not? It's time to space blockade, I think. If I succeed, maybe it's time to space Nasser and just play Arab-Israeli war. Failed. So I'll have to handle Nasser, but this is a useful information at least. I probably actually can play Arab-Israeli war now to West Germany and and this answered my question where. I was thinking about Saharan states just to provoke him to coup and have counter coup and gain military operations. Ouch. He got rid of all cards and he got rid of CIA because he has no. But actually I can use it just like I wanted to use my AR6. He may coup only one of these places. Very well played by him. And very unluckily couped by me compared to his coup. Bought the cards and he knows I have them. Suez prizes. What he doesn't know is that I have Red Scar Purge. And it's probably very desirable to play this very card on him. Decall to space, D-star for hold, or discard to potential blockade, but he won't play blockade on me knowing that I have D-star. Suez almost self-repairable. Indo-Pakistan war probably for the event, just to take a chance on him and gain military operations, plus maybe, excuse me, make some mess in Asia. His scoring is Middle East scoring. I could theoretically hit him with 5-year plan, but I don't want to do it because it's too speculative. Okay, I sacrifice some victory points, but he's going to suffer this turn, I hope. Of course, in the middle of the turn, 5-year plan is out of discussion due to duck and cover option, at least until he spaces it. And what the hell happens with the time? Okay, we agreed to 75 minutes for a reason. Maybe he's commenting in details, but the server on my side hang for a while, twice already. Is it hanging for the third time, or is it not? Well, if he doesn't go below some very strange time, I'm not going to complain, I'm not going to check it via phone. Ziemowit is the guy who had shown me the game Twilight Struggle. The funny thing is that first games we played, oh, he headlined it. Nice. Nicely played, I mean. The funny thing is that the rules are so complex that we had played 8 games, making some misinterpretations until we played the very first game accordingly to the rules. Our first game, in which we misinterpreted one rule completely, was won by me due to war games when I had Europe scoring and he was controlling it. And he had forgotten about war games, and I was completely unaware of what I was doing. I just didn't know what was happening there. Duck and cover, okay. Priorities now. I actually could hit him with 5-year plan, but I leave it as an option for me. I should coup in Colombia, but I think Nigeria should be first, because if he coups, I may have no access there. And I don't have too many cards to coup actually, and Colombia is the first choice. Okay, I'm giving him time to get to Ecuador, but this can't be helped, I guess. 3 to India shows him that I have Indo-Pakistani war, but hiding this from him is not as important as grabbing the battleground. Pakistan is not a safe country now, from his point of view. Even if the war has only 1/3 chance to be won, it's never good to be on the potentially losing side. He's too poor under Red Scare, hopeful, to go to Afghanistan. He could, of course, go to Afghanistan and South Korea with China card, but this looks wasteful. What is more, if he intends to play the China card to reduce the impact of Red Scare Purge on his hand, he should add some extra influence to Pakistan to protect it, but on the other hand, he doesn't like to lose more. He equalized Europe, and this looks like a preparation to play a safe Marshall Plan. This looks like a good one, and I think I'm gonna take Spain-Portugal. It costs me 2, so I'm gonna use special relationships, because it is the cheapest card, and I don't really know where would I need the 3rd influence from 5-year plan, let's say. But if I coup Colombia with 5-year plan, it isn't going to be wasted. I should space soon, because the sooner I do it, the sooner I know whether I can space twice or not. And this is a good moment. I mean, he has Marshall, he's going to play it. Maybe he has Europe scoring and he just equalized it, but if he has it, he can equalize Europe with Marshall. Always. I can take, for example, Benelux. He can play to Czechoslovakia or Yugoslavia and somewhere else. Maybe to Czechoslovakia, one Yugoslavia. I can use Indo-Pakistan war to Canada. He only needs one operation point to Yugoslavia, so I cannot win European domination now. So I should stop pushing. On the other hand, if I play to Canada and he takes something with Marshall Plan, the Marshall is going to be wasted, and I'd like to wait for his Marshall to make Suez Crisis fully self-reparable. In the meantime, I learned that I'm going to be able to space this star. Okay, he had Europe scoring. But, as said, he's equalizing Europe, except the difference in battlegrounds couldn't be helped in the long run. Probably he may have unplayable cards, but I can't base on it. That was wise, and shows that I might have spaced this tile prematurely. Perhaps Queen Columbia should have come earlier. This might have been a mistake of me. Anyway, better later than never. Oh no. If I hadn't done it by now, I shouldn't do it at this very moment, because let's at least win victory points due to his lack of military operations. Why didn't I put more in Italy? Because 4 is enough for now. Truman will go soon because he does have it in hand, and more in Italy could only make it more vulnerable to brush war. I don't believe in vulnerability for brush war due to NATO, but I think NATO was played actually. Yes, I had it in second turn. Okay, let's take a chance. Boo. This leaves me some flexibility, in the sense that I don't have to coup Colombia in my very last action round, but I think I'm gonna do it anyway, even if he coups Saharan states now, which he does, and gains access to Nigeria, plus he's gonna be able to coup it anyway. Paradoxically hard choice. Regaining Nigeria is gonna be tough, but South America is going to be more costly. This is actually quite nice hand. Is Missile Envy a safe headline? Back and cover is gone. So what else? I guess it is. The Cambridge 5 is going to be an empty headline, fortunately. Not so empty, actually, because knowing that I don't have any scorings does also have some value. That was quite unlucky. First thing is that he got rid of alliance in progress for free. The second thing is that he was able to perform a battleground coup. What's lucky? The lucky thing is that his coup failed. My obvious move is now to coup Saharan states, and I may do it with the China card to reduce the impact of Cultural Revolution, or may do it with arms race and risk that if I roll 1 and exactly 1, it totally fails. I think I'm gonna hold on with the China card and decide to the latter. Of course, keeping I could also coup with the China card and play arms race for the event, but it's 4th turn. At this stage of the game, if the score isn't about -15 or +15, 3 victory points are not worth 3 operation points. So let's coup and hope to roll at least 2. 6 meets the requirement of at least 2, and this is actually a very lucky roll, and this is the rare situation in which it really matters exactly how many one rolls for a non-battleground one-stab coup, because it makes it harder for him to flip. And I have an opened path to Nigeria. He got UN intervention once again. And yes, South America is going to be quite painful. Now, my cards are inconvenient, so maybe I should play China card just to be able to hold 2 of them. Because Brezhnev Doctrine is the obvious AR7 play. Bear Trap is something I'd like to hold. Just to headline it next time. So Cultural Revolution will just give him 1 point, probably. Suez Crisis will be self-reparable, but is a non-flexible play for this reason. On the other hand, how about Suez now? If he empties my Arab-Israeli war has somewhat lower potential of being harmful. I need 1 op from Suez Crisis to repair France. The other may go to Nigeria and Ecuador. These are places I want to take this turn, and I don't really need to control Ecuador because it's just a step to Chile. So, assuming 2 from France, I'm gonna put 1 in France, 1 in Nigeria and 1 in Ecuador. I don't really care about UK now. Europe scoring is gone and special relationships are gone for now. So, these are the only reasons for which I would care for United Kingdom. I actually care for France, however. And I should remember to over-control it in case of some socialist governments and AR1 for ops combo. So, except from spacing. In the meantime, what should be secured? Philippines, maybe Pakistan actually. The Indo-Pakistani war is gone, he didn't overprotect it. Yeah, if I'm intending to play the China card, Pakistan is the quite obvious choice. Domination. The rare situation where non-battleground is worth 3 PPs, while battleground would only be worth 1. One thing I should remember, he doesn't have 4 ops cards. Because he gave me a 3 ops card to Missile Envy. Taking Pakistan is tempting, but the downside of this move is that it doesn't really change the situation in Asia, because I don't... He has 3 battlegrounds, I have 1, so this equalizes to 2-2, so none of us is dominating Asia. Even if he has Asia scoring, this changes the scoring by 1 point. Sorry, 2 points. So I think it would be much wiser to equalize South America. More or less. Yeah, let's do it. Formosan. I forgot about Formosan resolution, but this doesn't change my mind. I have access to Chile. I got the option to play Cultural Revolution with impunity. The only problematic card now for me is Liberation Theology, which is easily spaced. Well, easily like easily. The only problem with spacing the card is to find time to do it. That was expected. That was expected as well. However, now Allende is going to have some real impact. Let's hope South America scoring comes before Allende, or let's hope I get some game changers in South America, like Panama Canal, Junta, ABM, OAS. Brush War doesn't look very promising actually now. So 3 more action rounds to play. This can only be worse for me. This is unpromising now. I can live without that. Let's calculate kitchen debates. I think he's winning now. 1 for me, 0, 2 for him, 0, 2 for him, 3 for him. Yeah, let's get rid of it as well. I think the higher ops in the deck, the better for me in this situation. So Africa, Southeast Asia and Central America are the scorings that are left. So I should probably care about Africa somehow. Now it's time to space. Failed, so maybe I will space Arab-Israeli war as well. Just to deny him chance to do victory points and to gain chance to see his headline. because seeing his headline when I have bear trap and how I learned to stop worrying in hand looks really promising. My last play should be to Sudan and Cameroon to be able to stop chair from being harmful. So yeah, let's space it. Damn. I liked the first failure, but the second one wasn't something I really liked. Nah, I don't want to grab some scoring, which is going to mess up with my AR7 play. Okay, I had empty Kennedy, he's going to have empty Brezhnev doctrine. Kennedy is stronger than Brezhnev, but let's say that was quite even. He has China, and Ussuri and Nixon are still in the deck. Cultural Revolution is gone. Okay. Over-controlling battlegrounds is always a good idea, especially that he didn't really have two decent places for these operation points. How should I play this? He's not going to quagmire me. That's a good news. I think I'm gonna steal his battleground coup, or at least attempt to do it. And if succeeded, coup Panama with NATO. Not succeeded, probably. Okay, if he doesn't drop DEFCON, I'm gonna decide basing on whether he dropped DEFCON, yes. He succeeded in spacing, and he spaced grain sales to Soviets. Just to be sure, Fidel is in the deck, so no point in going to Cuba. In this case, there is certainly some point in going to Zaire. But there is no point to use a high ops card for this. So let's go to Zaire and let's use the other influence to temporarily dominate Europe, just to maybe provoke him to control Yugoslavia or something else before I actually activate Warsaw Pact. Yak. And yak again. Okay, I have 3 targets to realign at 0 modifier, and that's a very good moment to perform it. not as successful as desired, because now he can easily grab Africa to equal. Not that he couldn't anyway with some events, but now he doesn't need events. On the other hand, reducing 3 with 4 rolls at 0 is exactly what I should expect. So, not really a valid complaint from my side. Things to remember: military operations. Space, we will bury you and hold Quagmire, or space them both, if applicable. So let's attempt some other realignments. Now only 3 rolls. But the light side is that he no longer has access to Mexico after this. He had Junta and he had ABM, so it would be nice if I had Brush War. But the regions to be scored suddenly stopped being in my favor. And start being in his favor. What is more, some nasty Che could flip Africa under his domination on the spot. We Will Bury You could be a nice trappy card in case he plays some Defcon degrading cards, but he doesn't have so high ops cards, and How I Learned to Stop Worrying is as good as a stopper against Olympic Games, which he never headlines, by the way, because he hates the option that the negative roll gives his opponents victory points due to his headline. Success, so I'm gonna see his headline and perhaps gain 3 victory points if I successfully space Quagmire. I had 2 D cards, he had Grain Sales and Voice of America. This also looks fair. Eventing this isn't a surprise, although had he done it earlier I couldn't space Quagmire. On the other hand, he couldn't earn victory point from Voice of America. Well, I gained 3 from Quagmire, he couldn't know it, that's the game. This is always a nice event. And forming Warsaw Pact will come with placing influence. Where exactly? That's a very, very good question. The answer is probably nowhere, because I need military operations, so it's going to be a Uruguay coup. Let's resolve event first, just to make him decide. I assume 2 Poland, 2 East Germany, 1 Romania. That was quite surprising for me. This is a rather nasty hand, because I don't really have anything decent to discard to blockade. But salt negotiations look nice. And seeing his headline looks very nice with Cuban Missile Crisis in my hand. Actually, with Junta gone, Fiddle in my hand, Liberation Theology gone, Cuban Missile Crisis should stop him from cooing for the entire action, for the entire turn. So Cuban Missile Crisis, then Salt, and I have 2 free coups, or more, including Southeast Asia. Excuse me for a moment, I have to go somewhere else and think about this plan in the meantime. There is some downside of the play I intended, because if I do it, Defcon drops to 2, he no longer feels obliged to coup, and he may just take Chile, easily controlling South America. But if I disallow it, he's going to coup Nigeria and dominate Africa. South America is more important in the long run, but in the short run, Africa hasn't been scored yet. And I may fight for it with my plan. Besides, I'll need some really... I'm gonna need some action rounds to perform the coups I intend. So let's make sure he can't get rid of Cuban Missile Crisis. He probably can't. So let's allow him take Chile directly. And grab... Yeah, a good question is what to grab with Salt, because Voice of America, Grain Sales, ABM and Red Scare are some obvious choices. He shouldn't have any unconditional DEFCON degraders. They are We Will Bury You, Duck and Cover, and that's it at this stage of the game. And of course Cuban Missile Crisis. He doesn't really want to get rid of China. Okay, let's play my plan. I think Red Scare is overall the best possible option. He can't steal it with Missile Envy. So things to remember. First, coup what's to be couped. Play Portuguese Empire Crumbles before cooing Angola. And when DEFCON drops to 2, play Fidel, not earlier. Hold Blockade, hold Red Scare. The first coup is going to be Summit against Vietnam. Excuse me. I think I could actually keep DEFCON high and make him lose some more victory points due to military operations, but at the cost of giving him Italy coup. I don't want to keep DEFCON high in the long run. I just want to perform some salted coups against. So calculate turns. I have 4 more, so 2 of them have to coup. One of them, 2 again, them have to degrade DEFCON. One of them has to be the play of scoring. So I can afford only one non-degrading DEFCON. That was weird, or I didn't understand it. Anyway, coup here, then flower power in Thailand, then scoring and Portuguese Empire crumbles in Zaire. Of course, all these coups are now worse due to SALT negotiations. So 3 more plays. his Portuguese empire crumbles in Zaire, which I very much hope to succeed. First scoring before it gets worse, because it can't get better. Fiddle is the perfect action round 7 play under these circumstances. Okay, Angola is going to be so much Soviet. Zaire is going to be Soviet too. Africa is going to hurt me, but I don't feel I really could help it. Okay, I could help it cooing Zaire instead of, let's say, Thailand. Saving a high ups card for this. He gave me yet another coup. And I probably should use it, because cooing a one stab non-battleground is always a good thing. Yeah, of course, salt negotiations make it chanceless. It was a very decent play of him, and such moves as this one show why exactly he's the world champion. I get Asia scoring, I get South America scoring. Not the two scorings I wanted to get. Asia looks secure. Okay, let's purge him, because this is what he expects. Normally you don't want to play what the opponent expects, but in this case it's very decent, because he should feel some pressure. He has Africa scoring, so if he coups, I should be able to score South America relatively freely, although I probably should take a chance on brush war against Nigeria in this case. I mean, he knows I have brush war. If I don't use it against Nigeria... Oh, this is going to hurt as well. I know he has Central America scoring, but I didn't really expect him to have liberation theology, which I already spaced. In this case, I think I should minimize my loss. He has Usuri, and he fortunately can't space it, but he can hold it. He's going to be able to score Central America very high. But he faces a dilemma, really. I have some cards to fight against him. First thing is, if he degrades DEFCON, I might try to regain some Central America. The question for him is, of course, to go to Mexico, but Nicaragua and score immediately for 10, or Guatemala and coup, and check what happens. Coup. Nigeria coup. Success. Saving everything is impossible. Am I able to save Central America anyhow? I could try to realign him from Mexico. If this fails, he may go to Central America. If this fails, he may score Central America, and I may relatively freely score South America. Now it's for 3. It may turn 8, so it's a huge difference. If I don't fight for Mexico, he's gonna score immediately for 8. If I win the realignments against Mexico, he's no longer going to control Central America, but he's going to dominate it anyway, so taking him off Mexico changes the outcome of America by 4 victory points. I think I'll do it, because yes, this is another victory points, but if it succeeds, great. If it doesn't, he cannot both score Central America, score Africa, and secure South America in a single action round, so I can always bet on brush war. Failed, succeeded, and Nigeria at +1 is the obvious target. Failed. What should go first is not an easy answer for him. Central America, yes. His problem was he couldn't know which scorings I had. My problem is I have to score immediately. Therefore, I'm gonna lose by 6 victory points soon. 7. Okay, I miscalculated Africa. Okay, brush war is going to be played now. Europe is quite secure. Middle East can't be really better in the long run, so targeting Thailand is the obvious choice. Yes, flower power, sorry. But this fortunately succeeded. So Asia is for -1 only. I'm gonna have -9 at the -10, sorry, because Willy Brandt is going to be played at the very beginning of the late war, and I hate it because I'm vulnerable to war games. On the other hand, Europe scoring is in the deck and looks in my favor, but it's unstable. The overall board is in his favor. DEFCON starts looking as my very best chance. Asia can't be better than this. Okay, it's for 0 because of shuttle diplomacy, which I forgot. Small thing, but a good one. He is good enough to realize that DEFCON is my best chance, so he certainly isn't going to play the China card without a need. Yeah, he managed to overprotect everything. Venezuela is the most important because it scores for OPEC. Time for my space. I'll be able to discard blockade. Priorities. So Mexico certainly, Czechoslovakia, Mexico because it's a battleground. How about not? I have access to Mexico anyway, and he's not going to be able to take it so easily anymore. Czechoslovakia is usually worth for some tear down this wall realignment modifiers, and it is, I think, worth to grab some African non-battlegrounds. I'm glad West Germany is overprotected, although Willy Brandt is probably going to mess up somehow. In a sense of some future Pershing deployed or the Reformer. Actually, I really hope he doesn't get any cards that mess up in Europe. Yeah, and suddenly my not going Colombia and spacing distal too early starts looking like a crucial mistake, without which he wouldn't have had access to Panama or so until he had played his liberation theology. He actually did give me the China card, but I'm gonna play defectors anyway. If I go to Libya, he's gonna draw Muslim Revolution, that's for sure. If I go to Mexico, however, he's not. I'd like to put one in Libya just to provoke him to get more there, to increase the impact of Reagan bombs Libya. These are the details which may turn decisive. Discarding blockade was nice, because A, it discarded blockade, and B, it gave me the option of getting more cards, which decreases the chances that he gets war games. I got Europe scoring, which is great, because he no longer wins with war games after I played, and I got ABM treaty. This is going to be my headline, because, well, Missile Envy itself is a very good reason just to play it. Socialist governments, of course, hurts. DEFCON 4. What kind of mess can he do with socialist governments? He may grab from France and take France directly. If I disallow it, however, I may secure it. He has Defcon at 4, so he has coup, to which I have counter coup. Why not? Terrorism is a nice event normally when he doesn't have the China card and he's vulnerable to Defcon, but if he is, he's going to play some Defcon suicide card now. The problem is, if he has card like Soviets shoot down Cal and he decides to play it for coup, he drops Defcon to 2 and has 7 victory points. I may play the Iron Lady to drop it to 6, but if there comes his card which gains him some victory points, I'm vulnerable to war games and I can no longer score Europe to deny this threat. So my options there are spacing North Sea oil. Actually not that bad option. Okay, if he does have war games and some unconditional Defcon degrader, particularly Cal, it's going to be very tough for me. Provided he only has one, because if he has more, he may be tempted to keep Defcon high. Whew. This... oh no, this gave me only 2 victory points. So no war games is a threat. Europe isn't going to be scoring high enough, so I have to just defend against war games. Immediate lose. Because I don't have time to both shore up Europe and score it. I only have time to fight for France if he has some high hand. I'm not really sure if I hadn't made another mistake with this ABM treaty, putting influence in Libya instead of France. He's gonna either play OPEC or score Middle East. Whatever it is, it's about time to secure France. And to secure European 5 victory points. extra influence is now always welcome in case he has some very nasty cards. He's playing to win the final scoring, and this can't be helped right now by me. But this is the moment when I can terrorize him. I actually didn't want to terrorize him against that, because I wanted him to play it and allow me play into Pakistani war. Now I have to hold it and discard it due to Spice Race privilege. Okay, it's about time to play Europe scoring to deny war games threat. The good thing is he has absolutely no option of gaining enough victory points to win by war games, and he has to play the entire hand. Now this is the interesting moment, because I can play 5-year plan relatively safely. He doesn't certainly have a DEFCON suicide, because he would space it if he had Soviet shutdown call. This is about unconditional DEFCON suicides. He may have conditional DEFCON suicide like grain sales. If I draw it now, it's a pity. But if I don't, well. On the other hand, with this board, DEFCON is my best chance to gain anything. Okay, I'm not gonna give him the China card, so North Sea Oil is not going to be played for the event. Although declining OPEC would be very nice. I need some military operations, and maybe I'd like to space something just to gain victory points, but not my own event. Okay, 5-year plan is not going to be played for the event certainly, so let's gain military operations and let's threaten something. Iran Contra scandal reminded me about realignments as an option. And of course I do need presence. 1, 2, and I feel single influence points may be very important to fight for South America in the end of the game. And yes, he had my very nice event. But he overprotected his most important places. A very good play of him. Yeah, this should be done so that he has to pick places where he repairs damage first. So no Libya because of Reagan bombs Libya. No Iran because of the Iranian hostage crisis. I assume he's going to put both in Chile. Another masterpiece of him. He had played Voice of America, so that it almost didn't hurt him at all. Of course, realignments before triggering the event. And it actually mattered. And yes, I'm gonna discard the card which gives him victory points. This is quite great hand, except that I wouldn't like to have long gunman, except that I wouldn't like to have Middle East scoring, and except that I have so many cards that I wanted to have in his hand. But yeah, Grain Sales is worth playing, actually. His Defcon Suicide is going to be tear down this wall. But if it's his only Defcon Suicide, I really doubt if he headlines it. On the other hand, in which case, of course, Grain Sales doesn't win me the game, and Soviets shut down Coal Wood. Yeah, let's play this one. Kitchen debates. Not playable for the event. Normally I would return such card to him, but in this case, cutting his hand and reducing Defcon is my best attempt. Long gunman to be held, of course. Middle East to be played as late as possible. Perhaps China to be played and Nixon to regain it. Especially if he has Latin American death squads. So he's no longer going to win with war games. Not a big deal actually, because he is going to win in the final scoring. I'm tempted to go to Cuba and Guatemala, but I feel that if I do it, I get Ortega the next turn. On the other hand, with the discard privilege, this allows me discarding long gunman, and Ortega is not a problem. And if I play the China card and he spaces successfully, decisions. This is always worth playing. Lessens the impact of Middle East scoring, discards the Muslim Revolution literally, and blah blah blah. Just wait for him. China, Soviets and NATO are going to be played for some ops war, because I don't believe he has such a rich hand. There is a limited number of 4 ops cards in the deck. And the very bad thing is that he's winning on the map, and this can't really be helped. Ouch. And he started winning Middle East. In this case, ops war against Libya. Libya is the best target now, because Reagan bombs Libya, just gets stronger the more influence he has there. And yes, I am going to play the China card and Nixon to grab it back. Israel. Well calculated. But do you have more 4-ops cards? On the other hand, if you don't, yeah, let's just play a move that reverses the effect of his move. One may ask, why not Nixon for victory points? The answer is, this game is unlikely to end up with auto victory before it actually goes to the final scoring. And grabbing the China card is worth 2 victory points as well, because if I don't have it, my opponent does, and it's worth 1 victory point at the end of the game. So now the scoring. The grab of the card. And a tough decision whether I give him this victory point for military operations or not. But I think I'm gonna risk spacing We Will Bury You. Risk. I'm gonna give him this 1 victory point. Take a chance of getting 4 victory points for space race attempt. On the other hand, there's absolutely no reason to do it. One small step can be played for. Yeah, and I shoot really cool. And of course discard long gunman. question is, can I win the game by purging him? Okay, the basic question is, how can I win the game using Star Wars? Can I win it on the map? I probably can't, because he's slightly winning in victory points, but he's deeply winning on the map. Central America and Europe nullify each other, other regions give him 10. I normally would love to play We Will Bury You, followed by UN Intervention, but I don't have the opportunity to do it. Can I turn the tables with some other event? Even the game changers like ABM Treaty or Brush War can't really help me too much now. Is it possible that Okay, Star Wars is my best bet because I can catch him on the DEFCON, but if I don't, Quagmire. Okay, in this case, yeah, it was very likely that he had been holding it, because otherwise he wouldn't play NORAD. In this case, I think I'm gonna grab grain sales to Soviets to cut his hand and degrade DEFCON at the same time in the headline phase. With OPEC, let's say we won't degrade DEFCON, we rather space it. Not a big deal, because I have UN Intervention and All Rich Aims remix. But the final outcome is clear. I am losing the game in the final scoring. There's absolutely no chance that he has some DEFCON suicide card. There are no such cards left, except... no exceptions. Soviets shut down, no. CIA, no. Grain sales, no. Duck and cover, no. What's the situation in the America? Actually, this is the worst card I have now. Oh, and I failed to Quagmire. Failure to Quagmire is a good news, because actually it doesn't change the outcome of the game, but it creates the feeling that the crucial roles are somehow unfair towards me. Of course, it's not true. The crucial thing is that Ziemowit is a very good player, and he just played this game better than me. But well, He's a pedantic player, so I bet he's going to maximize the final scoring now. I could destroy it by just committing defcon suicide, but I'm not going to do this because I respect him too much. It was a decent play. I'm not discarding anything. I'm going to play my entire hand. You will intervene, we will bury you. Eldritch Aims remix the last play. Chernobyl and Colonial Workers for ops, actually. And hold the China card. I'm surprised he didn't double Uruguay. So South America domination is stoppable by grabbing Bolivia and Paraguay. Africa domination is harder to stop. Actually even easier, but I can't do both in a single action round. Quite weird. But well. Hey, if I stop all the nominations, maybe there's a chance for me. Single victory points are going to decide. He's probably going to win on the battlegrounds anyway, but it's going to be very, very close. Literally, Europe is the only region to be dominated, and it's going to be dominated by me if I'm able to play Bolivia and Paraguay this turn, +1 to, let's say, Tunisia, and then I'll time remix to Tunisia and break Mexico. Okay, he is going to dominate Central America, but it's going to be much closer than I expected in this scenario. The China card is mine. I mean, I thought I was going to lose by 15 or 20, but now losing by 10 doesn't look that impossible. Of course, a lose, it's a lose. Presence in Central America is least important of it all. So one, two, three, four, five, six, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Assuming he doesn't have chair. This should be nice. Even if he coups South America successfully, but not to the extent of control on battleground, Older James remix is enough to break control in Uruguay. And yes, he is winning the game. Ooh! This was nastier than I expected. But, of course, it has to be met to the most possible extent. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe both Ziemowit's and Janusz's channels. And see you next time. Despite losing, I am going to advance to the further stage, and so see you in some next stages of ITSL, and I hope you're going to stay with me on my channel. Bye!